Today's video, Dog Squad, we are going to be doing a tier ranking. Actually, we're going to be grading every single team season from the 2024-2025 NFL season. I do apologize last night not being able to make a video for the channel. I was also not able to finish my TreyDOGaming video, but it was posted just a moment ago. Check that out. If you're not subscribed, you'd be part of the Golden Dog Squad. No additional features yet. By subscribing to TreyDOG16, TreyDOGaming. But that link is in the description below. So we are going to be doing this today. I don't know if I'll have a short today for you with running backs. I don't know yet. Maybe it'll be posted late tonight. Maybe not. I'm sorry. It's fine. I'm a teenager, so it's gonna, like I said, it's going to be sometimes a little harder. But I'm getting this video out to you, at least one video out today. Remember, I can't do anything during the week, of course, so that also is an affection. But spring break is coming up, so we'll have more videos soon, especially March Madness. It's March, baby. We'll have more videos coming soon, starting after the conference tournaments, and I'll be doing what I'll probably be doing what I did last year. I'll do my final moments of each conference tournament championship game, and I'll post that, right? And I'll probably go live for Slush Sunday, so just want to let you know. But without further ado, let's get right in this video, Dog Squad. Alright, Dog Squad, here we go. We are starting here with every team. Got the tier ranking, got everything going. I just want to say that I might not be as accurate. It's an opinion base. I know some of y'all freak out. I know everyone freaks out whenever if it's like, no way, that's not true. Well, it's an opinion base. So I'm just saying what I've gone through. Anywho. We are going to start off with the Arizona Cardinals, and you got to grade the Cardinals maybe in, you got to grade them in the C range, okay? It was a better season, but it wasn't the season, of course, you were hoping to really hit the sky limits. They had a better season. I think it could be using Marvin Harrison Jr. more, Trey McBride more. I think Kyler's still a little bit inconsistent. He still played well this season. They got to get to the playoffs. I can't put them at a B. I can't put them at a D, though, because they played better than a D. They weren't making the playoffs, so they weren't even on the bubble. They were eliminated pretty early, or at least a few weeks early, and so they were never in that Week 18 conversation. So B it was not it. C is probably the perfect chance. They had mid-season. They had a below .500 record. So I mean, what are you gonna say? They had about 6 or 7 wins. I can't remember the full record, but they got that. So that's a C. Falcons. I mean, they were in playoff consideration. I have to mark them probably in the low ends of probably a B. But it's a B, low. I mean, it's a B minus. It's in the low Bs because you went below 500, but you're also in the playoff race. You had the 6-3 record. It's a better season. You could maybe argue it was a C plus, but they're in more of the B minus C plus range. Panthers. Look, it could have been an F, but you gotta rank them as a D. They're gonna be better, but it was because towards the end of the season, that's what got them to the D. If they were bad at the end of the season and they could never win, they would have gotten an F. Now, of course, they were playing some teams like the Chiefs and Eagles. They played 2 Super Bowl contenders really close. Bryce Young is going to be much better next year. The whole Panthers team is. Okay, the Panthers will be better next year, and they could maybe make a playoff appearance for the first time in a few years. Bears. Yeah, I mean, it was a D. I mean, you hate seeing as a Bears fan. I'm not a Bears fan, but you hate seeing it when you're a Bears fan because you thought they were going to be really good this year. I mean, you could probably say the same thing for the Jets. Well, we'll get to them in just a second. They had a good team, but they just had no O-line, and they just couldn't score enough. They had the weapons, and it was mostly that O-line, the coaching. It was really those, and the Bears hopefully will do better next year as a Cowboys fan. I hope they do. Now, we play them next year, so I hope the Cowboys win. Speaking of the Cowboys, it was a C year. It was. You know, maybe some could argue it was a D year because how well we played. But we came back, and towards the end of the season, kept the playoff push, and we made it to a C year. I mean, we almost made the playoffs. 7-10. That's a below average mid record. I mean. It's a C year. I mean, you could argue, but it's probably a low C. But I think we're still in the C range. And as Cowboys, you can't be happy at that. You cannot be. You want to be in the A and B range. You want to. You want to be in the A. Last year was an A. I believe I graded us as an A. Now we can count. We're going to count postseason as well. But these 5 teams did not make the postseason. So, but who did make the postseason was the Detroit Lions. Even if the early exit, you got to grade them an A. You have to. Now, you could have lowered a little bit, maybe to an A maybe like to if you're grading on the number scale, 94, 93, maybe in the lowers. But the season was terrific, fantastic, winning 14 games, or actually, sorry, 15 games. Sorry, they went. Did they go? Yeah, no, did they go? Yeah, they went 15-2. Sorry, they won 15 games. And they had one of the best regular seasons. You can't lie. They had a talented roster. Their defense just got injured, and it hurt them in the playoffs. And then also some of those turnovers really helped them. Really helped the Commanders, hurt the Lions in a way. Packers B year. It's basically they were the definition. Made the playoffs, got the 7th seed. Were battling with it. They had struggles against the good teams, but they were really tough in that division, the NFC North. They still won a lot of games. You get them to the 7th seed. They'll be fine next year. Jordan Love's going to be probably their franchise QB. Josh Jacobs, you're glad they got them. The defense is doing much better than they were with it when they had Joe Barry. Their Packers are going to be just fine if you're a Packers fan out there. Of course, I hate the Packers, but they're dream crushers for us. The LA Rams, definitely a B. Obviously, like I said, like the Packers, they made the playoffs. They made the They won the playoff game. They were struggling with the season, but they won a lot of games this year. One good amount of games. They won 10 games this year. I'm forgetting some of these records. Won 10 games. That's enough for a B. It's not obviously an A because it's not the best season, but it's a good season when you did enough to win. Matthew Stafford's now safe. Cooper Kupp, no, is not. The defense just needs work, but they played well the past few games, though. So, but that Bills game, I think, is one that will kind of set them in that last period of when we knew, okay, we still got to upgrade that defense. Offensive-wise, they were struggling, but then they got back into it. You still got Puka. You'll still have a lot of guys coming back next year. And I hope Dallas maybe can pick up Cooper, not Puka. Cooper. I said Koopa. Cooper, what am I saying? Cooper Kupp, yes. Sorry. Anywho, but of course it's the definition. The Rams are going to be still pretty relevant, I think, the next few years. For Vikings, I mean, it's kind of debatable. What are you going to rank them? Are you going to rank them an A or B? I mean, you had the early exit. I think those last 2 games kind of set you off. The Vikings season, I have to say, was probably an A. I mean, I'm not going to put them in the same as these. They were the postseason, yeah, sure, first-round exits, but Sam Darnold's playing on his mind. Justin Jefferson finally had a QB for the past without having Kirk and the year prior, and Mullins, being the QB, they having backup QBs all over. You finally found Darnold. I don't know if he'll come back next year or not and play. They might put in J.J. McCarthy, but you finally the defense. It was terrific as well. Top 5 defense in the league. This team was all at it. They just had a struggling postseason, and that's going to happen. But, you got to say, they're in the A range. Can't put them with the Saints. It's kind of debatable. Do you want to have them as an F or do you want to have them as a D? They didn't win a lot of games. What? I mean, really didn't. But I might give them a D- here because they won a good amount of games to put them in the D range. I'm not because they won those first 2 games and then they had injuries. Yes, it was really not a good season, but I have to give them a D, but it was a low D. Giants, okay, they're the definition of an F. They couldn't win it. They looked like they couldn't win a single game out there. And they barely did. They won, 2 games this year? Awful. Hopefully they get a quarterback. I actually don't hope they don't because now you're going to have Jaden Daniels 2.0 out there. It used to be Dak in the NFC East. Then Wentz was really good. And then now you have Jaden Daniels. Of course, I know Dak's the only one still in it, not Wentz. Wentz is over in the AFC West with the Chiefs. But now you're going to draft like Shadur Sanders or something, like not Malik Neighbors. Jalen Milroe, Cam Ward, they're going to be someone out there. I mean, imagine they got 2 rookie quarterbacks, or 2 really young quarterbacks in that same period. All right. But the Giants were Fs. You got to get Malik Neighbors quarterback. Obviously, hate saying it, hate seeing it, but Philadelphia, obviously an A season. You look like they weren't going to do well. They barely beat the Browns, and they went 3-2, and then they won They won a lot more games, beating some pretty good teams. Offense wasn't as powerful, but you had Saquon. Jalen Hurts just did enough to win. And so obviously, but he still had a good season. But obviously, we had for Saquon, he won Offensive Player of the Year. Just overall, he needed to be on a different team. And then they won the Super Bowl. Defense was terrific. Coach Vic, he used to be at Denver, and now he led the Eagles to be one of the best scoring defenses in the league. And they won the Super Bowl for that. So that makes more sense. The Niners probably in the same boat as us. C. They had their ups and downs. They had their injuries. Boom, there goes the dynamite. A C is what they need to do. Seahawks. They almost made the playoffs. They won. They went above 500. I mean, yeah, I give them a B. Probably a low B. But it's a B. So you're gonna have your flu. I can't tell if Geno Smith's your quarterback or not. I really don't know. I mean, he's up and down. He's actually still good. But I don't know. I don't know. It's like you just found him off the street or something, even though he's been in the league forever. Buccaneers, obviously a B. They didn't have the best division, and they only won 10 games. But, hey, they made the playoffs. Lost in the first round. They made the playoffs. Baker's going to be their franchise quarterback for as long as he can be. Mike Evans still rolling. I think that defense was pretty inconsistent with Todd Bowles. But, yeah, they'll figure it out maybe. I don't know. I don't know if they will or not, but their defense was in the middle of the pack range. But it was a good season. They beat some good teams. They beat Detroit. They lost us, but they also lost to Atlanta twice. But when you're playing teams, and you almost beat the 49ers, and they were starting well at the beginning of the season. They going up against Philly. They blew out Philadelphia. You say that's something to be proud of. Right there. So they'll be fine. They had a great season, or at least still good enough season. B is what? Commanders. You got to say A. You have to. The way they made the NFC Championship, you have to say A. The regular season, we were doing that, I'd probably give a B. But when they bump it up all the way to the A, they beat their accomplishment. Jane Daniels, one of the best rookie quarterbacks of all time. Scary Terry just needed a quarterback. And they got a good running game as well. Austin Eckler maybe not be as injury prone anymore. May not be as washed, but they'd be fine. Defensive-wise, they didn't play that well in the playoffs, but then again, they did have like 4 takeaways to Jared Goff, or at least 3 of them were Jared Goff, because they had Jameson Williams throwing a pick off one of their crazy plays from Ben Johnson. So, but the Commanders' defense, of course, they were in the middle of the pack all year, but I think they'll evaluate and develop with Dan Quinn as the head coach. Ravens, you kind of got to say they had an A season as well. They had the 3 seed. They made it to the divisional. Couldn't get over that to go to the AFC Championship game. But they still had a great season. I'd probably say them in the A- range due to the fact that they won their division again, and they won like 12 games. That's an A season. What are you just gonna say? Bills, of course, made the AFC Championship, almost won. They got the A. They had another terrific season when they beat Detroit. They beat Detroit. Who else did they beat? Quality people did they beat? They beat Detroit. Well, they beat San Fran. They did beat. Try to remember if there's anyone else that they beat that was really good. They played the Rams. They lost to them though. They did beat. They beat the Ravens in the postseason. They beat the Chiefs. So the quality wins. Of course, and Josh Allen MVP. He was more valuable than Lamar was. That team was not supposed to go with the playoffs, and he made it happen without really anyone. Bengals C season. You maybe could argue they had it, but it wasn't. It wasn't. You could say maybe because of over 0.500, they had to come back from that. Maybe you could argue that they're in the B- range. But it just looked more like a C season in the mediocre style game. It was more of because of the start. Browns F season. They kind of try to figure out their quarterback the whole entire way. They come off that great season, or good season, that B season last year, and completely don't win many games. Just terrible for the Browns. And Myles Garrett might leave. I don't know if he will or not. Their defense is still good. Their offense got to figure it out, and they got to get weapons next year. Got to get a quarterback. They got that second pick for a reason. Broncos. You got to say it was a B season for them. Can't say it's an A because it wasn't, but it was a higher B, maybe in the 87 range. Bo Nix leading the team to their first playoff appearance since 2015 since they won the Super Bowl, lost. But you went like a 10-win season. That still is a good enough B record, and you went to the playoffs. That's going to be a high B, though. This defense is elite. They'll be fine. They're fine with Sean Payton as a head coach. They're going to be great. for years to come. They'll be Bo Nix, maybe have a sophomore slump next year, but he's the franchise quarterback. They found it. They are good. They're a good team. They will be, and they have a chance to maybe win a playoff game for the first time since 2015. Next year, they got to do that. The Texans. It's a low B. It's a low B. I mean, I couldn't say they went mediocre because they won like 10 games. They won a playoff game. They didn't play that pretty, but they beat some pretty quality teams when they were good. The Bears. They beat the Bills. They almost came close to beating the Chiefs twice. They just fell off the end of the year, and that kind of plummeted them from winning a lot of games. And they could have beaten the Ravens as well that year. It was struggling for them. It was definitely struggling for these Texans, and C.J. Stroud definitely had a big. Of course, it was more of an alignment issue. He had really no time to throw or anything. The Colts. I mean, yeah, I'm more of a C. They can't really be a D. They didn't have that terrible of a season. They were still in the playoff hunt for a while. They were winning. They were up and down, winning games, losing games. They got enough. We're probably in the lower C range. There's just a team that's just trying to find their identity, and maybe they will eventually. I don't know. Jaguars, F, completely F. Couldn't win many games. Always got injured. They can stay healthy. Maybe they can. The coaching staff was terrible. Doug Peterson. It's kind of weird that he was coach of the year just a couple years ago and he got fired. So. Okay. Chiefs, obviously, an A season when they may only lost one game. No matter how ugly it was, they only lost one game. Went to the Super Bowl again. You can't argue with that. The Chiefs are going to probably have A seasons for years to come. The Raiders. Trying to think. They probably are a D. I mean, I wouldn't say they were an F. I'm actually. Let me hold on. I think the Raiders. It's debatable to say if the Raiders had an F season or not. They didn't win many games. I guess you could technically say they were an F. They didn't do really anything. They didn't win a lot of games. They couldn't do anything with their quarterback. Their Antonio Pierce wasn't as good as we all thought. They really didn't have any key players. Max Crosby needs to probably needs to probably hit the free agent market or needs a request for a trade. Do something because they don't have anybody. They left Devontae. They have Devontae. They don't have a quarterback. They don't have that starting. It was an F season all around. I can't say they had a D season. All right, the LA Chargers, Dolphins, B. I want to say that they're an A, but I just compare to what the Bills did, with the Commanders, Ravens, Eagles, Vikings, Lions, Chiefs, what they all did, the way they had their season. They beat some top teams. But they weren't able to be consistent. They had some injuries there and here. They were top, maybe 88, 89. They almost got there. I think if they won a playoff game, I think I might just put them in the A-, but they didn't. And even though they had a good season, they won 11 games. Justin Herbert played outstanding. It was just not enough. They had a better scoring defense, a much better scoring offense. It was good enough, but it wasn't good enough. It wasn't great enough to hit the A market. The B, it's there. They compare with the Rams, they compare with the Bucks, and they honestly compare to the Texans and probably the Broncos too. Right there is the Chargers are up in the B. Dolphins, C, started bad, then came up, tried to go to the playoffs, and they couldn't. C year for them, one below 500. Patriots. I'll give them a D. They had some improvements there with Drake May. They found their new head coach, Mike Vrabel. They fired their head coach, Jerome Mayo, last year or the last game of the season, and they had some improvements. They won some more games. I'll give them a D. Lower D, maybe mid D there. Jets, D. They won here, won there. About 5 or 6 wins, and the way they played too, the way their talent was. They were fine. They started off, I think, with 1-2, I think maybe 2-1 record, I think, and then they fell into about a 5-win season. So I have to give them a D for that. Steelers, give them a B. They had a bad fall off. Went from 10-3. I mean, if they made it there like a great record, they kept that going, I would put them in the A. But they completely dropped, and just on it, yeah. I mean, and then they just didn't do the playoffs, so bumped them down to a B, a lower B, you could say. It's debatable if you want to keep Russell Wilson or not. Alexa, stop. It's weird. It's every time I make a video. It's about every time that Russell Wilson is on a new team. It seems like he has a really good year, but then it doesn't. He was much better than he was on Denver, but it just wasn't enough. You know, you have now, I don't know, Najee Harris is probably not going to stay. I think he's in the free agent market. You have George Pickens. I don't know what he's going to do, but their defense is still really good. They competed. I just don't know if they'll win a playoff game or not. I don't know. Tomlin, I guess, is going to stay. And then the Titans, a terrible year. Couldn't win many games. Yeah, you're still questionable at QB. You don't know what you're going to do at receiver. You really have no one. Calvin Ridley's not the same Calvin Ridley, and their defense is questionable. I don't know. It's an F year for them. I want to go back on the Jets situation. I don't think I explained it clearly. I'm not ranking them an F because the talent they had was good enough. I'm not going to say, oh, well, just because they had talent, you know, because everyone could have talent, like the Bears. But I honestly think that for the Bears and the Jets, there's more room to improve. And it showed that. It's the way, honestly, they played. They were close enough, they just couldn't do it. And at the lower range of the D, you got to give it to them. You got to. These 5 F teams are completely, I'm lost, you don't know what you're doing, completely rebuild. D's are like, that was not a good year, but there was a little bit of positivity there. C's like, could have done better. B's like, hey, that's a good year. We should have done. I think we could have done better, but I'll take the year. A is outstanding year, fantastic. This is one of our best years yet. That's what you want. And the A's go to, of course, Lions had one of the best years. Vikings are one of their best years in a while. Eagles won the Super Bowl. Commanders made the NFC Championship. Ravens, Bills still pretty dominant. Chiefs made the Super Bowl and only had 2 losses. Only one was the backups. Falcons in the low B range for having a good 6-3 start and lowering that standard. Packers made the playoffs. You know, Packers, Rams made the playoffs. Rams won the playoff game, but they still had a pretty terrific season, winning, get them out 10 wins. Packers got 11. They're still but they weren't good enough. They had an elite season to make the A range. Seahawks still had a good year, probably lower range. Buccaneers, Broncos, Texans, Chargers, Steelers all made playoffs. They just weren't elite enough to make the A's. Cardinals and Cowboys and Niners are balancing between. Maybe Cardinals were lower, but in the record, but they were also, all 3 of them were hanging around. Especially Cowboys and Niners were hanging around trying to make the playoffs. Cowboys especially, Bengals especially as well. They went down to the last week after being 4-8. Didn't lose for a while. And they never lost. They have not lost a game in actually a while. Colts were around that. Dolphins almost made the playoffs. Panthers, there was improvement. Bears, there was still improvement. They were close about every game. So like Carolina. New Orleans, you could probably have an F. Honestly, I don't know why I never marked them in an F. Really, I don't know honestly why. In fact, why did I mark them in an F? Wait, one. I don't know, actually. I'm trying to think, why did I mark them as an F? I think it's because I did say that they had the 2-0 season. It's kind of debatable. It's just, I don't know. It was kind of a lost season for them. But I think it's what they were going. I think it's the beginning of the year that kind of gets me the team. These 5 teams at the bottom look like they never had any hope. It never did. It never looked like they had anything going in their life. Jets, maybe. Patriots were better. Drake May was starting to kind of get the season rolling at the end, and they kind of knew what they were going for next season. And, like I said, the Jets, I think there'll be improvement. I don't know if Aaron Rodgers is going to stay or not, but they still got a good team. They'll be close, and it seemed like they felt like they were a D team. I felt like they were a D team. Maybe even the lower range, but I don't know. Probably more in the lower range. But anyways, all squad, that's your tier list. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to like, subscribe, and click the notification bell. Send us one of my videos. I will see you next time. Peace.